Well, hello, good morning. It's a gross day today here in the rainforest. It's been windy, blustery, and raining like crazy all night. And yeah, you definitely need earplugs when it's this crazy outside. So otherwise it's a bit hard to sleep. But today is a big day because I plan on installing the water heater. This is the Precision Temp RV 550 NSP. It's the through floor venting option. They also do a standard option where you vent through the walls, but this one is for the floor. It's a very popular choice amongst tiny house folk because of the fact that it goes through the floor and doesn't sort of disturb the aesthetics of the outside of your house. So as I'm in Canada, it ended up being way more expensive than I wanted it to be due to the exchange rate and delivery and such. So it's a pretty pricey unit, but it just works with the way we've got things set up. And you got to looking at the manuals of like your standard water heaters. It says in the manual not for use in small areas or mobile homes or anything like that. So you want to be careful that you're not going to void any warranties if you're going to install the wrong kind of equipment in your house. So a quick run through of this before I fit it. This is the bottom of it right here, and you can see there's a little exhaust poking out. And with this comes this exhaust pipe. Now, because it's designed to go through an RV floor, this is not far enough to get through my floor, which is 3.5 inches with the stud, plus the 3/4 inch ply on top and the 1/8 inch ply on the bottom. So there's a bit of floor to get through. So as it comes isn't good enough, you need to get an extension, which they do sell at Precision Temp, I think, for $7. But I wasn't aware of that at the time, so I just went to the local automotive place, and they made this up for me, which is awesome. Basically, it's a 2-inch pipe, 2-inch diameter, flared to 2 1/8 at one end. So that will now slot on to this. It's a nice snug fit, and that'll go onto there. And then I'll coat the inside of this one with silicone, and then screw it on. I'll probably drill some holes and then screw that in with some metal screws. And then once that's in, then we have this to add for underneath to exhaust the hot air. The other hole here has a little a female 1/2 inch pipe, so that's for the water to spurt out if pressure relief valve. You can buy these little extensions. I'll give you a little close up here. It's just got male threads on each side, 1/2 inch, and it's brass. And I'm just this is a 6-inch one, and so I'm just going to add that into that hole, and that will then act. I'll use some Teflon tape around the end, and then I'll screw that in, and then that will act as the pressure relief valve. Any water that comes out will clear the house. If I want, there is a thread on the end, so I can always add extra bits and direct it away or whatever if I want. Then there's the just spin this round a bit for you. There's the air intake valve here. It's square, but my research shows me that I can just drill a round hole through the floor. So what I'm going to do, I've got a 4.5 inch hole saw. I'm going to use that to cut 2 holes, and then I've got some ABS, 2 pieces. I think they're about 6 inches long, and they will slot into the holes that I make with this to protect the insulation and just create a clear run for these pipes. So that's for this pipe, and then this one will provide air in. This will get a sealant around here and form up against the floor so that no air will escape or get into the house as well. So I've got to seal all that up. I'll most likely use some silicone on the very bottom, because I've made these so that they poke out just about an inch below the floor, so that I can, I'm going to use little L brackets to screw up to the floor and into the pipe, one on each side. And then also I'm going to silicone around the pipe against the floor so no air can get in there too. And that's pretty much how I'm going to go through the floor. There is in the manual like a diagram which I made a cardboard cutout of. The only hole that I haven't put on here is the one for the valve there, the pressure valve. So I need to figure out where that hole is, measure it all out, and this is what I was using when I was planning out my plumbing system. So I would place that where I wanted this to go, and I've just dry fitted all the plumbing. You can just see in the corner there. It's not connected with any crimps or anything. It's just literally laid out so I know where things are going to go. Making sure that that's going to work with the joists. I've marked out where the joists are on the floor, and I know that everything's going to work there. I'm going to do some final checks, make sure the holes are going to come out in the right place, and then the nerve-wracking part of drilling huge holes in my floor will happen. Then once this is all set, I'm going to drop it into the holes. You also get some brackets to attach this to the floor, which I will do. And I'm actually also thinking of laying a little piece of ply on the floor there. In case of any leaks or anything, it might just catch the water and stop it from hitting the subfloor. And then if there is any repairs later down the road, I can just remove that top piece of ply, saving hopefully the subfloor underneath. So I might just cut out a piece of ply just to save that little area there from any water leaks should that occur. And I think I have some 1/2 inch ply left, so that'll be good. It'll give me enough distance here with the pipes that I've made. And that's pretty much that. So the back side is this one with all the attachments on for, obviously this is the bottom, but we'll flip it over when it's on the ground. This is the hot out, cold in, and this is the propane in. So I also need to bring water pipes into the house, which I'm going to do there. There's a cold in, and I'm actually going to put a hot out too, because I'm going to put an outdoor shower on the back wall here. So I'm going to send one section of piping back out with hot so that we can have an outdoor shower. And then I also need to drill a hole for propane. So I'm going to be using 3/8 inch propane piping, copper piping, and so we'll figure that out at a later time. Today is just going to be the water. I'll probably drill a hole for the propane pipe just so it's easier. The other things you get here, some bolts to screw down the plates, and then also some little PEX fittings to slot onto the in and the out, the cold in and the hot out. So you can just slot those in, and that's 1/2 inch on one end, and I guess a little smaller for the way into the RV there, into the water heater there. So, all right, I'm going to give this a blast. Wish me luck. And I think the screen is starting to mist up because of the dampness and the temperature change from out there to in here and whatever. So I apologize about the misty screen. All right, so the first hole has been completed. That was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. So I'm just going to check that this works, this fits. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to double check again, double, triple, everything check. That is nice. I've basically set it up so this lines up against the front of here, give or take a little bit. So that is there. Well, I have killed 2 batteries very quickly doing these, so I'm going to go and do something else while I charge the batteries. Okay, so batteries are all charged. I'm ready to go again for the third hole. In the meantime, I just tested out the water heater. I placed it on here with the main exhaust pipe extension going through that I had. It's got a good length to it. It clears the members underneath as well. And the only thing is that I definitely recommend if you're going to do this is to make sure the holes are really at a right angle, perpendicular to the floor. Because there's a slight angle on it, the exhaust pipe is getting a little close to the ABS on the inside near the very bottom there. So yeah, try and get the holes, drill them as straight as you can. But I've still got about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch clearance on the one side of that pipe, and a good, it's a 4-inch gap, so a good, 1.5 inches on the other side. So we should be good. If there's any problems, or I'm going to keep checking on this when it's in operation, if anything's starting to melt or anything, then I can always come and put in some little metal silicone it to the side or something like that, just to protect it. So I can't foresee any issues with this, but let's go ahead and do the third hole, and then we'll get everything set up. Okay, so all the holes are now in place. I'm just going to place the heater and test the lengths of pipes, make sure it all fits nice.